Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another review to The Walking Dead. This is for episode 14 of season 11, which was called Rotten? The Rotten, that's what it was. So we had the conclusion of the last episode where we had a small group of people, Aaron and Gabriel, sent along with the crazy mercenary to this compound where they were supposed to find a missing shipment of guns that they were being accused of stealing. And we found out that actually it was just basically a kill and take things back mission. And we ended the episode, of course, with Aaron and Gabriel realizing that this guy who acted all happy-go-lucky was actually a psychotic mercenary and was planning on killing everyone. They managed to get out, but only because of the help of Negan and his new wife, we've discovered. It's his wife. I mean, we all know that Negan did have a thing for wives. This definitely is a trademark of his. We find out that that's where he's been since he parted from Maggie, what looks like a while ago now, at least several months, if he had time to come to this community and bond and everything. But yes, they managed to save him. And of course, we know that because of that one kid who managed to make it all the way to Hilltop, Maggie was also there along with, what's her name? I don't know, I keep forgetting her name, but Alpha's daughter and the other guy, the ninja. So we had a little bit of a gathering of mixed company, but that all knew each other, but knew that this had to stop. And we saw them kind of systematically go through and dismantle this group that was there. Thankfully, this mercenary had no idea who they were dealing with. They did not know that Rick Grimes' people and Negan, by extension, and all these other folks, they've been out here, right? They weren't living behind no cutesy city walls for years. Like, they've been out here learning how to survive and do the unthinkable to do so. So they weren't ready. And so we got some interesting revelations, though, through the whole building experience. Like, of course, we saw that Maggie ended up going off with Negan's wife. Because, of course, let's start from the beginning with, obviously, Aaron and Gabriel and Maggie discovering that Negan was here. And then, of course, Maggie... Which is really strange that Aaron had like the audacity to ask Negan, like, who is this woman to you? It's like, sir, you're not close like that. Like, Negan's no longer at your mercy because he's not in your community anymore. You don't be just asking this man questions like he's your child. But anyways, Negan revealed that yes, he's now married to this woman. He's basically started a whole new life. I mean, that was really quick though, because like I said, from the episode where he would have split off from Maggie to now, like I can't think that it's been more than maybe 3-4 months. Right, at most. So Negan moves fast is my point. But hey, it's the apocalypse. You don't want to waste time with long courtships. I feel like you meet somebody and you don't hate them and you both kind of relatively have all the working parts, you're probably going to get into a relationship. So anyway, we found out that that is his wife, and this is basically where he's made his home. And Maggie obviously felt some type of way about that. I know she kind of wants Negan to just kind of live in unending suffering for all eternity because of what happened with Glenn, and that's understandable. But, she's got to recognize that Negan is still alive, and Negan is not the same Negan as the one that killed Glenn, or even the one that she left in that jail cell when she decides to go on her sabbatical. So there's a lot that Maggie's still processing. Like, she never has to forgive Negan. As I said before, there's no need for her to ever want to see a different side of him or to give him another chance. But I think that there has to be a realization, though, that her opinion is not going to be shared by everybody who encounters Negan, much like with Lydia, who we saw that, she came out across Negan after all the things that he had done to Alexandria and the Hilltop people. And so her relationship with Negan has no history, nothing negative. In fact, Negan was one of the first people to welcome her into a community that very much had a lot of biases against her because of her mother's work. Like, it's the same thing with this community that he's moved into. Like, there's no history between Negan and these new people, and there's not the same history with obviously his new wife. So it's a bit of a hard pill for Maggie to swallow. In her mind, Negan's always going to be the murderer. He's always going to be the terrible person. But like I said, this woman has no reason to carry that kind of vitriol towards him. And I really like that she found out, after talking to her very briefly, they didn't go into deep conversation, but I like that Maggie kind of found out in that moment that, Negan did tell his wife everything. He told him, obviously he must have told him about the Saviors, told him about what happened, told him on how he ended up where he was when he showed up on their doorstep, so to speak. So to me, that does show that Negan has in fact changed, because he's not trying to hide what he did in the past. He's not trying to act like he was justified or right, because even when, you remember when was it last season? No, 2 seasons ago when Negan ran off for the day, was out for literally a day and then ended up coming back, after Carol let him out of prison or whatever. No, he broke out of prison. That's right. When he broke out. But anyways, back then, that Negan would have been the one that I'd say that definitely doesn't deserve to continue on or even try to start again, because he was still very much thinking that he could restart the Saviors and that he was still right in what he did. But this Negan now that's actually taking full accountability for what he did. Again, I'm not saying that I don't think he's sorry for what he did in the sense of like, he did believe in what he was doing at the time. And he does think that some of the things that he did under the Saviors was the right thing for him at that time. But I think he's taking full culpability in the sense of knowing that he hurt a lot of people that he now cares for, or at least respects as people, since he had to live amongst them for as long as he did. And I think he absolutely does understand how wronged Maggie feels for what he did to Glenn. And obviously, by extension, Herschel, like, he knows he's got no excuse whatsoever where Herschel's concerned. So like I said, the part that makes it, I guess, I don't want to say good. Like, I guess the part, like I said, where I feel like it's for Negan to start over, have a chance to start over, is that he is taking that culpability. And the fact that he told this woman, who he didn't have to tell her, right? He didn't have to tell his new wife anything about his past, because how would she ever find out, really? I mean, obviously, I guess if this situation still happened, she could have found out. But you know what I mean? Like, this happening was purely a plot coincidence. In the real world, if this would actually was a zombie apocalypse world, the chances that these guys would have interfaced again would have been very low. So my point is, Negan didn't have to tell her. He could have sugarcoated it or given it some kind of twist to the story that made him look like a hero. But it sounds like he was very honest about how horrible it all was and some of the lower points that he had in his past. And she chose to be with him anyways. And as we found out, she's pregnant. She's also 12 weeks along with their baby. And so I think that part kind of made Maggie kind of, I don't know, she had an interesting look on her face when she found out about the pregnancy. I mean, I know for her, it's still something that repulses her because she hates Negan so much. But this whole idea of him starting a family and understanding maybe what it's going to be a parent, I think that that's something that maybe Maggie will take into consideration to be like, maybe, Negan's perspective is going to change yet again to understand why Maggie feels the way that she does. As a mother and someone who has to do this thing alone now because one of the parents was taken from her, or taken from Herschel. So anyway, interesting little situation that happened there. And of course, that kind of filters into the face-off with Herschel, like the fact that Herschel stowed away in the truck and no one noticed. Like, really, Maggie? Really? You didn't even notice your whole boy got into the back of the truck? But listen, I can't even blame little Herschel. I mean, like I said, the kids in The Walking Dead be getting left behind way too much for my liking. Kids like, you're not abandoning me again, Mom. You always gone. You leave for days. Like, what you want a boy to do? But anyways, he ended up getting caught by one of the soldiers. Thankfully, the soldiers didn't want to hurt him in any way, and Negan was able to get him. But that whole exchange where Herschel figured out very smartly that Negan was indeed the person that killed his father, and Negan just kind of not even trying to skirt around it, very much just being like, all right, yeah, like this day I knew would probably come, or might it come. I think he's thought about it a lot, actually, since he first saw Herschel. So that moment, I think, was very poignant. And like I said in there, very interesting that he has the deductive skills of Glenn, but the balls of Maggie. Because we know that like Glenn was not the aggressive type, right? Like, it'd take a lot for Glenn to pull a gun on somebody. That quick draw was definitely the Maggie in little Herschel, but the figuring that out, what Negan was to his mom and to him, was very much the deductive skills that we used to see out of Glenn. So I like seeing both parents represented there. And very interesting there that he kind of got the moment to see his father's killer. And like I said, I think in his mind, he might have had some ideas of how he might handle it. Again, we have to remember that Herschel's only like 7 years old, so it's not like he's carrying around a lot of deep thought around this. But I think for Herschel, unfortunately, a lot of what he feels towards Negan is actually carryover from Maggie, because he, as kids, it's very unnatural for children to carry around a deep-seated amount of hate or anger, especially since Herschel never met his dad. Like, he has no relationship with his dad outside of any memories that Maggie has shared with him. So his anger or hurt is probably not really so much about the death of his father as it is how much pain it's caused Maggie, if that makes sense. And I think that's more where that anger came from, and the desire to maybe kill Negan in that moment. Because like I said, he's just too young to be carrying around that level of like vengeance, if that makes sense. Like, it takes a little bit of years and experience for you to actually develop a vendetta against someone you've never met. So I think that was more about, kind of protecting his mom and getting justice for her. But I like that, like I said, Negan handled it the best way I think he possibly could have. He was like, look, you know what? I deserve whatever you want to do to me. I do deserve to get shot, but this is not the time or place. We're all going to die if that happens. And later on, when he saw him later on and said, look, I understand that you still have things to say to me, maybe, or maybe you still want to kill me, but you're not ready to do that now. Go back, help your mom, take some time, think on it, make sure that's what you really want to do. And that's what I'm saying about the whole transference from Maggie onto him. Like, Herschel needs to decide if he really wants to kill Negan for himself or for his mom, and if he really wants to live with the burden of taking a life. Those are really deep questions that he definitely can't answer at 7 or 8. So I like that Negan just said, you go back, help your mom build her home, and if, a few years you still want to kill me, I'll be right here. Come back, I'll take my punishment like a man. So I like that. It definitely left it out there. If Herschel does still feel that type of way when later on, he'll come back. If not, and I have a good feeling that the Glenn side of him will probably talk him out of it, then, he can move on with his life and let Negan exist. There's karma out there. Don't worry, folks. Like, if it's not Herschel, I'm sure that if Negan still has some level of karma coming back to him, it will come. But now that he's going to be a dad, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who his new wife is. We didn't get a lot of features on her, but she seems cute. She seems cool. She about to be a mom. I don't want her to be a single mom in the apocalypse. So you know what? I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I'm not really a Negan fan, but he's not tormenting my people anymore. So he can go be with his new family. And like I said, I already knew. I'm like, Negan saw me showing and said, I got to get me one of them strong, beautiful black women. And he went and got himself one. So smart things. Always imitating Rick. That's all I got to say. Outside of that, of course, we had the weird, stupid, annoying mission from the governor's son. Basically, we saw that he has been running his own little side missions where he's been getting whatever, money, booze, drugs, whatever he considers currency in the Commonwealth. He gets people in the community to go out there, not just anyone though. He's obviously picking people who are probably from the ghetto side of the Commonwealth, basically where both Daryl and Rosita are living right now. He takes people who either, I think they must be poor or don't have a lot of social status in the Commonwealth, and he basically threatens their children and makes them go and do dangerous missions that if they just disappear and don't come back from, no one's really going to notice. And unfortunately, it was Daryl and Rosita's turn, and I think a lot of that was because Daryl did hilariously shade him about being such a badass in front of the Rotters as he was trying to impress his stupid ass girlfriend with. But anyways, they were sent on this mission, and they discovered when they got down there that they were not the first to go on this mission. And this is he was one of 12 groups, I heard. Or maybe it was 12 people. Anyways, they weren't the first. This had happened a few times before, and there was a poor girl that was locked inside of this safe room where all this stuff was. And so, of course, Daryl and Rosita, being the badasses that they are, they were able to get into the room, get the stuff. But the girl in the room was already losing her mind. Like, she was way too jumpy. I was like, she ain't making it out of here, because if this is how jumpy she is now, she ain't gonna make it out there. But anyway, they got the mission, got the stuff out, and thank God Mercer showed up because of King Carol. Carol coming through. She was supposed to have lunch with Daryl. He didn't show up, and like the smart little sleuth that she is, she's like, let me just find out, because this ain't right. Daryl don't break promises like that. And thank God she went and got nosy, brought Mercer along with her, got them out, because they otherwise would have been screwed because of that damn alarm system. But they let Mercer know the whole situation of why they were there and what was happening. And again, I don't think this was news to Mercer entirely. I think he already knows that the governor's son does shady stuff. He does know, honestly. Like, remember when he took Eugene and Stephanie out to kill the Rotters to impress the mayor's son, like all that stuff. Like, Mercer knows that there's a lot of shady stuff that happens in the Commonwealth that, like I said, he just turns a blind eye to for the most part. But at least he was able to save these guys, because they would have ended up dead too if he hadn't shown up, because I don't know how they were going to get out of that room with all that noise. But we saw in the end, I'm so glad that Mercer did kill those two guys, those two corrupt agents or whatever, because they're part of the problem. I mean, I know it's kind of impossible in a system like this to never have someone corrupted. People want the money, they want the power, they want the status. So there's always going to be someone who's going to do something shady to keep that. But I'm glad that Mercer took them out, because again, we saw that woman ended up dying, because I knew she'd panic. She almost died almost exactly the same way as the girl, like I told you about, the one who had the two kids and the one that ended up getting Carl's eye shot. Yeah, same thing, that same nervous energy. Like, you can't go in like that. You shake it and pop an eyes like that. Like, nah, you're going to do something stupid. And inevitably she panicked, and there she ended up. So, but still, she was a mom. She said she had 3 kids. These 3 kids are now probably orphans for no damn reason. And the fact that the mayor's kid is so callous that he doesn't even care about that, like, says a lot about just how debased he is as a human. And you have to wonder too about his mother, because I'm sure she must have heard some of this stuff before. I refuse to believe his mom is oblivious to all of this, but you know how it goes with rich, powerful families. But I'm glad that Mercer took care of that, because he was just so disgusted. You could tell he was just so sick that these 2 soldiers could be standing by and letting this happen, or at least not selecting people who had less to lose. I mean, it's still a sick thing, but better just pick someone who doesn't have a kid, or, someone who's got something else that's not like a whole, like, that doesn't have dependents who need them. I don't know. There's levels, I guess, is my point. But anyway, it was very hot that Mercer just took care of that on the spot. That was sexy. and basically said to, to Daryl and Rosita that, like, look, you're going to have to play ball for now because, anything you try to say against this kid's not going to work, right? You're going to if you try to take him down, you're going to lose because it's the mayor's son. So you want to stay, if you want your kids to continue to be safe and, stay behind these walls, you're just gonna have to give him the money and just keep quiet and just deal with it, right? Which is what Mercer's been doing. But obviously we know that's not gonna happen, right? I know this is not gonna sit well with Daryl or Rosita, especially Daryl, because Daryl's already slit that kid's throat since last week. At least now they know, again, they're starting to understand more of like what's really going on in the Commonwealth and that seedy underbelly and all the undercurrents that they maybe weren't able to see initially. And now that Carol's very aware of this too, Carol's really she's the ninja in all this, right? She's going to be the Achilles heel, the Trojan horse that's going to come in there and just blow this stuff up, because right now, little governor there, he thinks that Carol's just playing ball, that she's just some, girl who's going to just keep doing what she needs to do for the system. He don't know that Carol blew up a whole compound by herself, okay? He does not know Carol. He thinks he know Carol. He don't know Carol. She's just taking in the information she needs. She's just gathering all her chess pieces. And when she's ready to make her move, it's going to be devastating. Know that. And I cannot wait. But right now she's like, she's like, okay, that's how it works here. You knew about this? Okay. Noted. Tick, tick. Good to know. Filing that away. So yeah. We'll have to see what goes on there. Like I said, Carol's definitely formulating something. We'll see how much she ends up sharing with everybody else, because she won't be able to do it completely on her own. But like I said, we need someone like Carol to get in there and start getting all of the other side of like the Commonwealth information, while you've got other people like Eugene on the front end of it, kind of dealing with the people, and even like by extension Daryl and Rosita and everybody else. So yeah, where we kind of left the episode now, Aaron and Gabriel have got to go back to the Commonwealth because obviously their kids and stuff are still there, but they're gonna have to figure out how to explain why the mercenary is dead. And of course, the missing guns, we found out at the end that it wasn't indeed these people. I thought it was a setup initially. For some reason, I thought, like last episode, I was like, the way it was all sounding, I was like, did the mayor or did the governor set this up so that like he'd have an excuse to kill this community? But no, it turns out Leah is still very much causing trouble, stole the shipment, took the food, because I think they said there was food and guns. So I see why she would need the food, but the guns is more worrisome. But the last time I checked, she's still a one-person army, so that's not enough to really take down the Commonwealth at this point. But it's worrisome that she's still alive, and I know she definitely wants her revenge on Daryl and on Maggie's people. So I feel like maybe she won't go for the Commonwealth, but she might try to go for Maggie if she finds out about Hilltop. So that does worry me. And I feel like it's definitely going to come back at some point, probably closer to the end of the season. But yeah, that's kind of where things ended with this episode. So we kind of wrapped up, like I said, that one storyline. But I think what we really took away from it is that the Commonwealth has to go down. Like they know now that they can't stay there, or that they're going to figure out a way to take it down to some degree, or take out the corrupt people, because as it stands, it's not a safe place for them. The fact that 4 of their people in this last couple of episodes were put on missions that were potentially death missions, they already know they're not considered important to the Commonwealth. And that is a problem. So they're going to have to figure out a way to remedy that and do it soon. We haven't heard any updates on Ezekiel. Hopefully he made it through his surgery okay. And yeah, we'll just have to keep seeing how things go in future episodes. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next review.